Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with this week's weekly weather briefing. This is Danielle over at the National Weather Service. And jumping right into it, we are primarily concerned, and we don't have a whole lot of concern about it, but our main concern through the next 7 days will be the potential for some locally heavy rainfall late Friday night and into Saturday. Basically, what we're looking at is a line of thunderstorms forecast to move into the area. And as that happens, the line is expected to slow down and kind of stall out over the local area, but then it's going to kind of just weaken and dissipate throughout the day, Saturday and into Saturday night. So as that line approaches, one or two strong to severe storms could sneak into far northwestern areas, and we'll show you the severe weather outlook here in just a second. And then beyond Saturday, the weather looks pretty quiet again. Could see some isolated showers on Sunday as that very weak boundary kind of lingers in the area. But it primarily looks quiet through at least Tuesday, with above normal temperatures expected to persist through the week. So as I mentioned, we're looking at a line of storms that is going to approach the area mainly during the second half of Friday night. So this is kind of like a late night threat. And as you can see, the severe weather threat is primarily for areas northwest of that line from Baton Rouge to Macomb, and really only for a very small section of our forecast area. The intensity of that line, as I mentioned, is expected to be weakening as they approach the local area. So we're not really looking at like a widespread severe weather threat. We're kind of looking at potential for maybe one or two storms that could sneak into that far northwestern area before daybreak on Friday. And in that same area, because we're going to have those storms in that area, there could be also some locally heavy rainfall from one or two storms. Going into Saturday, the greater threat from that line is going to be the potential for heavy rainfall, mainly during the daytime Saturday. As I kind of mentioned on the first slide, the line is forecast to slow down as it moves into and through the area. It doesn't look like it's going to make it all the way through the area. So we do expect it to kind of slow down and stall. And as that happens, we get those slower moving systems and we start to see more storms moving over the same locations. You can start to see some locally heavy rainfall. And some of these storms, there's going to be a lot of moisture available to them, so they could produce some high rainfall rates where you could pick up an inch or two in a shorter period of time. So we're not forecasting any rainfall totals that are really high as far as the area average is concerned. So what we're primarily looking at is the potential for localized ponding of water in low-lying and poor drainage areas. But we could see some flash flooding if multiple storms do move over the same area and result in kind of saturating that ground, or if we get any really high rainfall rates where the ground can't absorb it quick enough. So that's going to be kind of what we're looking at. As far as the storm total rainfall is concerned, we're mainly looking at rainfall totals. The heaviest totals we currently have forecast are across the northwestern area from, again, that kind of Baton Rouge to Macomb line in northwest. And it's like 1.5 to 2 inches. So we're not forecasting, major amounts of rainfall. This is, primarily, 1 to 2 inches of rain for the northwestern half of the area. And I will say that over the last 24 hours, that rainfall forecast has decreased a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see, pay attention to the forecast and see if that does change again going into tomorrow and going into the weekend. The main uncertainty here is how far east that line is going to progress before it weakens or dissipates. So we definitely have higher confidence across northwestern areas seeing some of that potential for heavier rain than, say, across the South Shore and into the Mississippi coast. We really don't know exactly how far that line is going to progress. And so the farther east you go, the less rain it looks like you're going to see. Moving on to the tropical weather outlook, the two named storms that are out there right now, Lisa and Martin, neither one of them pose any threat to the local area, and NHC is monitoring two areas for potential development, but neither one poses any significant threat to the area at this time. The one that is highlighted near the Bahamas, that one could develop a surface low that might bring some moisture into the area towards the end of next week, but there's still a lot of uncertainty as far as how that will play out. So we're just going to kind of keep an eye on it, but right now, no significant threats to the local area as far as the tropics are concerned. And then beyond this weekend, the rain chances look pretty low, and below normal rainfall looks to continue into mid-October. So I will just mention, I took a look at the drought monitor, and there really wasn't a whole lot of change from last week. There was a little bit of improvement across some of the northwestern areas where we got some heavier totals with that last round of rainfall, and then a little bit of worsening over portions of coastal Mississippi. But in general, really wasn't a whole lot of change from the drought monitor from last week. So just wrapping it up again, we're just primarily monitoring that threat for locally heavy rainfall late Friday night into Saturday. Can't rule out 1 or 2 strong to severe storms across far northwestern areas. And then after Saturday, it looks quiet through at least Tuesday.